And live. Okay, great. We're live. Uh, Welcome to the 33rd episode of UBI.
Woo woo!
We are super excited because we've got Io with us again, and we haven't had her in a minute. So, Io, what have you been up to?
Man, I've been chilling. I started a new job. I think I don't know if I told you, but I know I told live, but last we spoke on the podcast for sure. I was like interviewing and maybe waiting to hear back. So I started the job. It's been dope. Like actually like really dope. So that's good. My niece had a birthday party yesterday, which was fun. But other than that, I mean, it's hot as hell in Houston. So I'm just indoors.
So,
Gotta be outdoors.
so I have a theory.
Mhm.
So when you interviewed, right, at some point, you probably figured out that you were gonna, that it probably went well, that
Yeah.
you may get a job, but that's before you got it offered. Now,
Right.
you said the job is going well.
Yeah.
Which is more exciting? The anticipation of waiting for something that you probably are going to get, like, oh my God, it's almost there. It's almost there. Or finally getting it. I think for me, the answer is clear. Like, in terms of when I'm waiting for something and once I have it.
Well, yeah, because anticipation is like 100% positive, right? Like it's, I mean, I think that's just anything, right? like
If you did well.
Well, yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm qualifying it like anticipation, already knowing that you did well.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there's like a little like, I think with jobs, one of the things that I've realized, and I haven't like had many job interviews really, like this kind of process. Not in like a humble brag kind of way, just haven't. And talking to friends who've had more of that experience, it's like, I hadn't thought about the fact that like you can interview really well and be feeling really good about it. And then you quickly realize, oh shit, I don't know who else is interviewing. What if they're me and then better, right? Like, and so but like with this job, I was like, I mean, I knew like from our first interview, there were a lot of things that were said that I was like, okay. I mean, and even just from the listing and stuff, I just knew that like I had a really good background for what they wanted. And so I'm like, what are the chances there's another one of me and better? Like, who the hell is that? And what are they on? So if I'd spent a lot of time wondering what all they were like, what all the other people they were talking to would have had, maybe I'd have been like, oh, I don't know. But I think, yeah, for sure, because I felt like it was very likely going to happen, the anticipation felt like almost all positive. Also, like, I think this might be the first time that I've gone from one job to another. And so it's like, I got a job. So if whatever they're like, oh, yeah, no job, well, I'll still keep my job. Or if they're like, oh, yeah, here's a job, but it pays, half what you pay right now, half what you make right now. Okay, well, I'll just keep my job. So I guess that's what makes, in this case, anticipation all positive.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think
because they're like, I can only level up.
Right. And you walked in there with the confidence like, look, I have a job. And that probably made you a more attractive candidate because you didn't come off as thirsty and needy. That's so important when you're going through these interviews, is that you don't act like you need them more than they need you.
Yeah. I feel like going through an interview and not acting thirsty, it's almost like dating, right?
Oh,
yes, exact same thing. Oh my God.
I'm just only really good at one.
Like, I got options. That makes you so attractive. If you look like you've got options, you don't need this. I'll be fine either way, which you would be fine either way. In your case, Io, and you kind of know when you're killing it, right?
Yeah,
like you're feeling it. Like, I'm murdering this interview right now. If they pick somebody else, then they just must have interviewed Barack Obama after me, because I just killed this shit.
High key, I was like, the only way that they don't offer me a job is if they're, the other person they're talking to is like everything I am, but like so much better, or they're like, they don't know how to hire,
Unless they're idiots, basically.
I was like, you
don't like to make money in your corporation. You like to make bad hiring decisions.
Like
I got it.
So
you want to make less money as an organization. Is that where we're going with this?
Is that the problem here? So, but like the job then starting, I think that is so a lot of like job stuff feels like dating for real. Like I'm like it's so but anyway, so it's like the first second day, those are exciting. Like the actual like relationship, it'll but then,
and then after a while you're looking for another job.
Again, the analogy works.
That's hilarious.
I feel like in like an actual relationship, unless you're dating, I don't know, Jesus, and even Jesus probably like in some ways, right? Like imagine like he's like, oh, I gotta go like die to save the world. Like, dang, what about dinner? So
right.
I feel like
we get it. You're perfect. Yeah. Jeez.
Right? And it's like even that, even a perfect person in a relationship, some of that.
That's annoying. Yeah. Right? Could you do one wrong thing, please?
So I feel like that's the thing, right? Like it's like no matter how great the relationship is or the job is, one, I have to do it, right? So it's like, it's a job. I gotta like write things and do things. So in that sense, a job will never be better than like having money but not work, right? Like obviously, like I mean, I don't know about y'all. Like I would much rather have money and like not have to work. And like I'll do things
as opposed to work and have no money. Yeah, I think we'd pick money and no work.
You'll hear, some people would be like, "Oh, well, the my great life purpose." Like, get the heck out of here. So anyway, all of that to say, it's going really well. I'm really glad that I found this job because I don't know if I told y'all I like saw it on Twitter. I'm glad I heard about it, applied for it. All of that stuff is going to go well. Super chill people. My coworkers are cool people. So that's me. What y'all been up to? As we spent 15 minutes on what I've been up to.
Work. I feel like I'm married to my job. Like
you are a lawyer, and
I've been in it for a while. But sometimes I feel like it's annoying, but it's all right. I've gotten used to it. But
are you working on something big?
Oh man, yeah. I can't say what it is, but I have an assignment that I hate with a passion right now that I've been working on since mid-May. But it's almost done. I should be able to finish something today. So
that's what's up.
Thank God.
Yeah. For everyone that is wondering, we haven't had a new episode out for a while because Manny has been MIA.
Nah, I was okay. Let's talk about the facts. All right. My black ass has been MIA. My black ass was here 2 weekends in a row.
Yeah, right.
Lies talking about an hour later. Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm just seeing your text right now.
Dang.
Get your ass out of here.
Like, you really know? If those are the facts, then
those are the facts. Those are literally the facts. So I have receipts. I have the text messages, and he's like, "Oh, my bad. I'm just seeing this 3 days later."
Wait, okay. Maybe this is like office, like the back office. We got to figure something out because like, what's going on now? What's up?
What's going on about what about it?
Not working in Espana?
I'm working. What are you talking about? How do you think?
No, she said it's your phone number.
Oh, not you like your.
Oh. No, Manny's making shit up. So
okay, you want me to? We could read the text messages. You're lucky I don't know how to put this shit on the screen. Okay.
All right, so let's go.
Not the receipts.
Let's go. Okay. So last weekend, look at us throwing Manny on blast.
You can put me on blast. Again, the text messages clear my name. I don't know why you'd want to go to the evidence. If I were you, I would just make stuff up and say, "Don't look at your phone." Like you want, I could read it.
You know, the funny thing is the evidence don't say what he thinks it says, right? He thinks every day says something, but you must be under the rock to the point where you are seeing things and reading things and misinterpreting. You must think you're reading Spanish. Okay, let's go. So,
right.
January 13th.
Oh my Jesus.
So, all right, June 13th.
June
13th.
June.
Okay, so let's go from after the why are we even doing this?
Okay, so we were trying to plan an episode on June 13th with someone. There was a misunderstanding, but I did confirm with Lai. No, I did confirm with Lai that we would meet at 3:30 on Sunday, June 13th. Okay, I get in. All right, I come in from a long weekend out of town, and I get there at like 3:00. Okay, right. And then I message Lai and I say, let's see, blah blah blah. Okay. I ask if he could make the link because I'm rushing in, right? And then I ask him I ask if he could send a link to the guest. Okay, the guest can't come on. And this was at 3:20. He doesn't message me until 4 and says he's just seeing this. Then at 4:12 says, am I coming on?
Black ass told me that.
Wait.
You see what he did? He skipped the part where he said.
I didn't skip anything.
He skipped the text where he said, damn, looks like Sharif can make it. Okay, now I'm pretty sure. Looks like blank can't make it because I forgot to confirm with him after confirming with you about this time. What the fuck am I supposed to do? Like,
okay, but he didn't see it until 4 though, and then by that point I was taking it.
I actually saw that early, I saw that coming. You know the way you can see a text coming when you're doing stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't really read it.
You were like, I guess we're not doing it.
Yeah. So I saw it at the time. I was like, so that was what I saw. So I think what happened was I didn't see the earlier text, right? There were a bunch that came in. So I saw that all I saw was just, damn, looks like Sharif can do it. So I was in my mind, I'm like,
you see that and you're like, I guess we're just
exactly. What am I supposed to do? Wait around? I mean, do you know what time it is?
You open your text message. That's that.
That's okay. So that wasn't a great. That was. I mean, it wasn't all my fault. I did ask your black ass, and then I did immediately take a nap though. As soon as I realized Sharif wasn't getting on, I took a nap. So no matter when, it's not all my fault. Okay, so we can let's go to June 20th. Okay. So he asked me if we're recording this weekend.
It's funny how he skipped all of those messages.
There's only so then at 3:40, no.
You see what I'm saying? Like he thought this message said something they don't say. Anyway, so then I said the thing about Sharif. Then you messaged me at 4:00. I'm taking a nap. Then you say, are you still coming on at 4:12? Still taking a nap. Then you say, are we recording? 4:23, still taking a nap. And then you say at 4:28, let me know when you're ready. I'm still taking a nap. And so at 5:00, then I message him and say I passed out. And I said I'm too tired for today. All right.
Well, I mean, hold up.
Okay, you see that?
Look, I feel like it sounds to me like it was not clear that without Sharif, this is still happening.
Bingo!
And like you didn't take a nap, so like even
like you didn't even say you were gonna go take a nap. Like
that's true.
I mean, sometimes naps happen.
Like, I'm supposed to know that you were gonna go get a nap.
No, that's fine. But you didn't get on at 3:30 though. That's all I'm saying.
That's like, I mean, like I feel like
you knew we were doing it at 3:30.
Wait. I didn't get on because a message came in that said
that you didn't read. You didn't read the message. That's really.
But that message didn't. Let's see. So when did that message come?
The message said, "Looks like he can do it."
Where is that? Okay. But I said that at 3:41. You already weren't on the podcast for 10 minutes.
Wait. So no. Actually.
So
no.
where were you at 3:30? Because we already planned for 3:30.
Wait. So
I mean, those are the important. That's the important.
Right. It's like we planned for 3:30. I've confirmed with you at 3:30. So whether Sharif is there or not, we're talking about you, Sharif. It doesn't matter where were you at 3:30.
Sure.
So then he doesn't respond to me until 4.
Okay, so I was late. That's fine.
Which is cool. Again, but it's like partly
think, your fault. I actually think I thought it was at 4 because normally we start at 4, right? And
no, we normally start at 3 because it's 10 o'clock over where you are.
Yeah, which is 10 o'clock is that's 4 your time, right?
Right.
Yeah,
so we normally start at 3. Yeah, so we normally start at 9 o'clock your time. Between 9 and 9.
We normally start at 10. We normally start at 10 my time.
We're literally starting at 8 right now, but normally we start at 9.
Because I don't want to start late anymore.
4 is really late for me. 3.
No, we definitely start at 3 p.m. Eastern. Always. It doesn't matter. Okay. So that was not all my fault. We'll say that's half and half. Okay. Well, we'll give Lai 80%. We'll give me 20% of the responsibility. All right, cool.
What the fuck?
And then June 20th. Now this is there's nothing you could say for this one. So then you project onto me and say you can't record with me because my black ass is busy with all my comedy.
Project is true.
You said I can't even get my black ass to record. Meanwhile, I was there at 3:30 the week before. And then I say I'm traveling from New York City, but should be back around 3:34ish, if that works. Okay? So
suppose at normal time, like
and then what did I say?
Right, and then you said, Psh, that will be late down here. I was like, what, guy? We normally record them. What are you talking about? And then I said, I mean, it's only an hour later than usual, but if I get back by 3, which I could do that. And that's what I said. And then you said, see, pedo, but there's a difference between starting at 9 and starting at 10. And I said, CC, pedo, you be aight, though.
Now y'all are speaking Spanglish.
And I said, but if Io can start, I can hop on. And then I say, and then at 12:33 p.m., I say, actually, I will probably be back around 3-ish. We're leaving New York in 30 minutes if your black ass can wait. And then at 3:15, I say, can you do the podcast in 10 minutes? Just got home and need to bring some shit inside to get set up. Does that work? And then at 3:35, I say, Aight, my black ass is going to take a nap. Let me know by then. If not, we can do the podcast this week or weekend. And then at 4:53, you say, just seeing this, we can shoot for midweek. All right. So
again, what am I supposed to do with this? Like,
you're supposed to respond before fucking 5 o'clock.
Look, you already told me. You must think I live on my phone the way you live on your phone, right? Because you already
most people have their phone with them all the time. Wait. What are you doing when you throw your phone in the river?
If I'm at home, I'm not staring on my phone.
But I also I feel like there's one thing to be like permanently on your phone. There's another thing in the time frame when something is supposed to be happening to be like checking for the means of communicating with the person.
But look at this.
You can't be like, oh, we got a 3:30 thing at between 2:30
and then he just ignores it until 5 o'clock. What are you doing?
That's the relevant time frame.
Was there a plan here? I actually didn't think there was a plan. I didn't think we planned, because when he said he was traveling, I already shut that out of my head and I was like, okay.
It's not happening.
But I said I should be back around 3:34ish if that works. And then you said it will be late down there. And
exactly. I said it will be late.
I get it, right? Like it doesn't sound like there was specific like
there wasn't like we are doing this.
I think
I said it will be late. But
that's not an explicit rejection of the proposal.
That wasn't an explicit.
All you said was it will be late down here. Okay, it's also the sky is blue. Why are we saying random facts?
We didn't have a plan. We did not have a plan.
I mean, I hear both of y'all. I think the problem.
There isn't a problem. I think for all the listeners, right? This just tells you how prepared we are for this podcast. Like, look. But anyway, Aight, what were you gonna say the problem was?
I was gonna say the problem is that because y'all are friends and you just like are texting like friends. There wasn't like a clear like, oh, this is me saying this. Y'all just like, oh yeah, you free right now? Let's do it. Oh, I thought you had planned. So I feel like.
By the way,
wouldn't have happened if I had to be like, yo, what up?
And by the way, I'm fine with it not working out. I just don't want to be accused of being the flaky one. When I'm sending you multiple messages driving down 95, trying to get home.
Your ass is flaky as hell. It's like
I'm flaky.
Aiight, you know what we have to get Manny to do? We need to get him to sign a contract. Because
that's cool.
By the way,
let me be done. Let me finish my statement. He's about to. We need to get Manny to sign a contract because he's about to blow up, right? That's really what's going on. He's got all this. He's now opening for Dave Chappelle and all of this other stuff. And he ain't got time for you behind anymore. That's why he's asking.
I wish that was true, but it's not.
Is this the thing where people assume you're busier than you are and they don't hit you up? And then they say, oh, you too busy for us? And it's like, actually, you just never.
But I made it back. So, by the way, and speaking of that, though, I was doing a bunch of comedy, though. And I will say, I was working on getting UBI out there. All right. People, what was funny? I was doing a couple of shows in New York and they would bring me up and they were like, do you have any credits? I was like, you can just tell I'm my host the podcast UBI.
I mean, credit or not?
So that is my credit. I was trying to promote the podcast, try to get some new listeners.
Sure. You ain't trying to promote the podcast.
That's hilarious. But I think we got some listeners from that. I swear to God. Like our last episode did really well.
Aiight, to your point, you're saying, I think you were going to say, is this a question of somebody? I think he's been busy. I mean, I don't really use Facebook a lot, at least not anymore. But it feels like every time I log on, like Manny has something on, like, oh, tonight. So that was what it feels like to me, right? Like, oh, midnight tonight at blah, 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 or this weekend at blah, blah, blah. So in my mind, I'm like, damn it. Like this guy. And then when he says, I'm in New York, that's all I see, right? And I'm linking that to.
Oh, he's out. He's done.
Yeah, like he's out.
I mean, what I'm hearing, Manny, I think you can hear this too, is Lai's like, in his mind, you've got a lot going on. And so he assumes.
He's got a day job.
He starts off assuming that you're not available. So when you say, I'm in New York, here is, I'm not available. Here, Sharif can't make it. He hears, oh, we're canceled. As opposed to, oh, let's do it regardless. Or, oh, I'll get back in time and let's do it. So when you're telling him about other facts that don't mean that this weekend doesn't happen, you have to be like, I'm in New York, but we are on for.
Yeah, you got to be explicit, man. Listen, I don't read mine.
He checks his phones once an hour, so.
Once every 3 hours.
That's not happening.
Okay, but can we talk about why you're checking your phone once every 3 hours, though?
Because first of all, unrelated. Let me tell you why. One, I have two phones, right? One is
one's like, just for UBI.
That's when he knows.
Yo, I have two phones, but to be honest, it's because I don't do much. If you think about it, I don't do much on my phone. Like,
but you're not on social media.
So I most of the people I chat with are on WhatsApp, and WhatsApp is linked to my laptop. So if I'm on my computer most of the time, you can now take calls on WhatsApp as well on your laptop.
I didn't know that.
Used to be that way. So everyone that calls me on WhatsApp, and then he brings them. So it's kind of like my email is on my laptop. It's like sometimes I could go for hours without checking my phone. So if you are, man is literally probably the only person that still uses regular text message.
No, I'm not. I just have an iPhone. You do realize iPhone users.
I'm talking about with you. I'm talking about with me.
Oh, the communicate. Yeah, I have people that text me just like SMS. They have the lowest response and open rate because I'm just I hate.
Well, nobody likes messaging Droid users. Like I message iPhone users all the time because we have iMessenger.
It's not about Droid. It's not about Droid. It's about. See, So maybe this is what Manny doesn't understand, right? You know, for a lot of people that have people all over, and I think it's an American thing.
WhatsApp is very international. People.
Yeah. So most Americans that don't really know folks overseas or don't really they don't really use WhatsApp. I remember when was it Facebook that bought WhatsApp?
Deal.
Yeah, when we were in business school, I don't know if Manny remembers. And I remember people were asking like, why the hell will Facebook pay $20 billion or whatever for WhatsApp? Like, what is that? It's just a messaging platform. I'm like, dude, that thing is big all over the world.
Yeah.
Like
I will say that the WhatsApp thing and the iMessage thing sort of combined to make it harder to communicate via text because I think iPhone people, because iMessage, you can use that on your laptop too. And so it's like WhatsApp for Apple people, right? Like they're like if you're
as long as you have Wi-Fi, you can use iMessage. So I can message my cousin in the UK because he has an iPhone.
Right.
As long as he just has Wi-Fi.
So for someone like you, WhatsApp is literally like, what's the point? You're like, look, either I'm gonna text you or I'm iMessage you, and that's it. And because for me, like WhatsApp, I use on my computer too. I mean, I do need internet. I guess you do too, but you don't need. Anyway, point is, SMS is not it.
Nah.
Yeah, I use iMessage. I mean, that's the most thing I use. It's not SMS.
I'm not blaming you for that. I mean, you don't, let me spare you. You don't, I forgive you, man. You don't have to go buy. You don't have to go buy a drug.
I don't have to go get WhatsApp. Yeah, I don't use, but I still don't understand. If you have WhatsApp, though, why wouldn't it be well, for me personally, if I had WhatsApp, I would imagine it would just be on my phone, and I would because I message people through Instagram, Facebook, iMessage.
It's on iPhone too. It's not a Droid thing.
Like, no, I know. I'm saying if I used WhatsApp, I would just have it on my phone like anything else. So like I'm constantly messaging people like through Facebook Messenger or iMessage or Instagram or whatever. So it's just like I don't even see them as different. It's just like they're all just ways to communicate that are.
Yeah,
I think you're assuming Lai wants to be anywhere near his phone, and he doesn't.
Right, and that's fine. I'm jealous of that. I wish I was not near my phone.
But not just that. I'm saying, like, if you think about it, we all interact with these phones differently, right? And I'm saying, for me, you use Instagram, Facebook, all of this stuff on your phone. I don't have them on my phone, or like Facebook, for instance. The only time I would that I will be on Facebook is if I actually just facebook.com. Like it's not an app on my phone. So I wouldn't get messages instantly or anything like that. So the same thing with Instagram. Like, I mean, I have Instagram app, but I don't have it on. The way like I will log out because I just hate that it drains my battery. So
battery since you barely be on your phone.
So, again, like that's just how I interact with Instagram.
I have a question about this. So I'm wondering if this is personality or if this is age related. Because I know, Lai, do you consider yourself a millennial? I know you.
I am a millennial.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
you're an older millennial though, so I know that some people get weird about that.
Patrick millennial.
I'm up there.
The appropriate time.
Yeah, because I'm smack dab in the middle. I'm a millennial. There's nothing I can do about that. There's no argument that I'm any other generation. But I'm just wondering because people say like people who were born in like the early '80s, like whatever, they don't necessarily always identify with the broader.
No, I identify as a millennial. But you are wondering like is the fact that I use this like the
phone the way you do sporadically, is that like you think that's personality, or do you think that's
no? I think it's just a function of that. I don't communicate a lot, and most of the people I communicate with are not. They're mostly on WhatsApp, and WhatsApp is on my computer. So if you think about it, I'm on my computer most of the time, right? Like either doing work stuff or just loafing around. So if you were to text me
around, is that a geriatric millennial term? Heard it before. I gotta Google it. Please continue.
So if you were to message me on WhatsApp, chances are I'm gonna see it quicker and I'll be a lot more responsive. Now Facebook, I don't, even with you, I doubt that you use Facebook as much unless, I don't know, like,
I just use it for Messenger. I literally have like the Messenger app and not the actual Facebook app up. So like Messenger acts as like a text messaging like service.
Yeah, I know the Messenger. So that's the thing. So I actually don't have a lot of people that message me at all on Facebook. Like, you know, like
yeah, I guess
I could go weeks and months without, you know, every now and then I would get someone just say, hey, you know, long time, that kind of thing. But the thing is, I log on to Facebook a couple of times a week anyway, and I would see, you know,
that makes sense. Because like for me, I would get rid of Facebook if it weren't for comedy. Every message I get for a show, for just like coordinating stuff, is all through Facebook. Just because like I'm friends with people, like comedy people on Facebook, and like that's where I find out like all the information. So I jokingly call it my comedy email, like my Facebook Messenger. But if it weren't for that, I don't think anyone would ever message me on Facebook, other than like occasionally, like, you know, once or twice a month. So I think I need to get WhatsApp if I'm going to be talking about UBI.
Yep, you need to get WhatsApp.
But yeah, but that's also why I'm on Facebook a lot, probably more than your average person, because like I do all of my comedy stuff through Facebook. Sometimes I have to check my Instagram DMs because people will send me stuff on that, and so yeah, I'm on. It's probably 99% of my Facebook messaging is because of comedy.
I mean, you messaged me, and like when you messaged like asking if we were good for today, like I called Lai like probably 3 minutes before 1. I was on WhatsApp because I was gonna WhatsApp him, but then I was like,
and guess what? I picked it up, right?
You did.
She called me. She was like, "Hey," like she just wanted to confirm that. And then what did I say? I was like,
because I figured you probably hadn't seen the message, and I didn't. No. I was worried that like you're not responding would make Manny be like, "Oh, I guess let's discuss." So I was like, you know what? Let me.
No, I had a sense he might not respond, but I know sometimes he responds on it. Yeah, I knew he would still be down. If anything, I think I text him actually.
Yeah, so I already knew. Yeah, we had texted earlier, and I knew.
Look.
But anyway, we've spent too much time.
We be Aiight.
Yeah, we be Aiight.
Yeah,
so I think I've cleared my name though. Let's be honest.
I think pretty sure shit.
You definitely didn't clear shit. So if I didn't clear anything, then Lord help you.
But if you decide to keep this whole bit, if anyone's listening, who do you think is more at fault and what percentage? Please respond.
Definitely not me.
Comment.
Anyway, so moving on.
What if we got messages? Oh man.
So what do you guys got to discuss this week?
Other than who's the wild
I actually have something. First of all, I guess let's we don't have to spend too much time on it. What did you all think about? Is it the 22.5-year sentence that what's his name got? That killer, that murderer,
Derek Chauvin. Yeah, he'd be Aiight. Basically, he'd be Aiight. I was just like, good. I mean, I didn't read or listen to any of the analysis of it. I just saw the headline, and I was just like, okay, cool, great, and then I just moved on. But I think basically just he'd be Aiight. Like I don't sit around wondering about sentences of other people who killed people. You know, it's just a fact. I heard, oh, you murdered someone, and now you're going to jail. All right, cool, and then I just moved on. Obviously, there are bigger implications because this is not just a citizen murdering a citizen and all that stuff. But to me, from like a moral standpoint, a justice standpoint, I was just like, all right, yeah. Anyway, and I just moved on and read something else.
Yeah, I think there were some people that were, that were kind of like upset that.
Yeah, there wasn't long enough.
They were upset that.
That it wasn't long enough?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like there are people that got caught for weed or whatever that have spent it longer in jail.
Conversation is, I get why people have it, but it's exhausting.
Is that true though? Yeah.
I think people are talking about the 3 strikes you are outlawed.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Like, petty stuff, and you
22 years is a long time to be in prison. Look, I get you murdered someone. That's horrible. but
he's probably not going to get out alive.
You think
I
so?
mean,
I think he'll probably get out
they'll
sooner.
kill him.
no, I mean, he's like in his 40s, right? Like,
Yeah, that's
he's
not.
gonna
You think
be
he's gonna
jail.
die?
He's not gonna struggle
You have
20
no faith in this man. I don't think he's in his 40s. I think he's, or if he's in his 40s, he's barely in his 40s.
Let me see.
Yeah,
I think he's
thought he
like
was
late
in his-
30s.
yeah, maybe like mid 40s. Maybe not. I mean, but in any event,
Damn, you're trying to kill this brother. Like he'll be fine. I mean, I think he'll.
45 years old.
he's
Okay, so he'll
45,
be
okay.
67. He'll be alive.
So I think he will be eligible for parole after 15 years. Don't quote me on that, but you know. But even that, like, it's still significant that he's going to spend. That's a good chunk of his life that he's going to
That's a
spend. It's not like he's going for like 2 years or some stupid suspect. You know the way they
No,
will-
that's a legitimate time in federal or wherever he's going. I mean,
wherever he's going, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't read the comments because I've kind of just taken a break from all that
Yeah,
stuff. In the past I would read, what do people think and what are all these hot takes? I don't care. Like,
when I saw that, I was just like, guys, man, you need to just relax. Like, don't give yourself an aneurysm. It's okay.
22 years.
22 years. I would have liked that he had more. Like
I don't think he would have, if he had gotten to 40, I would be like, oh, too long, but it's like you hear 20, like I heard 22 and I was like,
okay, that's respectable.
Yeah,
like
that's a long time to be in prison. What are you talking about? Like
if this were like 5 years, then we could have a conversation.
Right. Yeah. But 22 years, I mean, there'll be a completely different time when he gets out. I mean, that's a long time to be locked up. And going back to the facts of the case, I don't believe he woke up that day and was like, all right, cool, I'm going to murder George Floyd. But given what happened and what I kind of saw, I think that's a reasonable amount of time. And I think that's just.
But I think the qualifier that you just gave is problematic in my view, because I don't think you have to wake up one day and have that thought for it to be egregious, like for an act that you committed to be egregious, one, and for it to be forced. I mean, I know we've had this conversation before, so
I'm actually blanking on what the so he was found guilty of, second degree? Because I know it wasn't.
It wasn't first degree.
It wasn't first degree.
It wasn't first
so,
degree.
like, I don't think. Let me rephrase that. Maybe this will be less problematic. But even if it's not, I don't care. But he didn't. I don't think he was like intentionally killing George Floyd in the way that would be applicable in the first degree murder context.
Yeah,
and which doesn't mean it's not horrible. It doesn't mean it's not a bad thing and someone didn't die.
I totally get what you're saying. I guess for me, I'm just saying more like it's just really the way the laws are written, right? Because we seem to think that if something, the way the laws are, we define first degree a certain way. And we've determined that if you plan and you do all these things, that is you go buy poison and you feed it to someone, and that is more egregious than, oh, you did not wake up this morning and plan, but you knelt on somebody's neck for 9 minutes, but for whatever reason, this one is worse than that one, even though everyone is in the streets and begging you to stop, and you are a police officer that has all of the laws behind you, and all of this is all. So that's all I'm saying. Like it's not. The laws is, we've been conditioned as a society to think this one is more good. Even that, like, I see that as, I mean, you are slowly sniffing the life out of someone. It's like you wouldn't do that to a freaking dog. Like, you wouldn't do that to an animal. You are sniffing the life out of someone in the streets. Everybody begging you, everybody and you had this callous indifference to it. So, but anyway.
I mean, it's still bad either way, but I still think, even not legally, there is differences between levels of egregious. Like, that's bad and that's egregious, but it would be more egregious had Derek Chauvin just walked up to George Floyd and just shot him in the head. Both horrible situations, but I think that's just the law is trying to make that differentiation between the two scenarios, but I mean, I agree. I hear what you're saying though. Like it's both. It's still bad just because it's, you know, second degree, or just because it might not be as bad as another scenario doesn't mean it's not bad, and it doesn't mean that we shouldn't take it seriously. But I also think 22 years is sufficient.
So I will say the thing that I liked was, as far as, you know, one, this is one murder and one sentence and all of that, but like the part of it that I think is kind of nice to see as far as what this statement says is, I'm now reading, because I remember reading this sentiment and then now I'm looking at it and I understand what has happened. So the maximum for that, what's it called? Crime, it says the sentencing guidelines range is like 10 years and 8 months to 15 years. So he got like 7.5 years more than the maximum he's supposed to get. And the judge wrote a thing saying like that because Chauvin was a cop, essentially like position of power and trust or authority. So anyway, the idea is that because Chauvin's a cop, this makes it more, you know, it's the same way like if you kill a regular dude and you kill a cop the exact same way, it's aggravated because it's a cop. The judge essentially said this situation is aggravated because Chauvin was a cop, and so that's why he exceeded the normal maximum of 15 years. And I think I really like that, because I think that is a very clear statement of, again, you know, this might get thrown out in appeals or whatever, but a very clear statement of, okay, we've given you all we could give you based on what you were found guilty of, and then, you know, and then some because of the specific, you know, so theoretically it's a statement to cops out there, right? Whether or not it means anything, who knows? Because, you know, we had to have protests and all that to get here. But I like that, because it's like, okay, so there is an acknowledgement that not everybody is a cop, and cops are held to a higher standard. And if you're gonna, you know, not meet that standard, then you need to punish a little harsher. I like that part about the sentencing the most. Like,
I mean, you know, one thing I I just hope that this serves as some sort of a beginning of cops being held accountable in some way for bad behavior, because I just feel like they sometimes just get away with stuff that, you know, any other person,
right.
any other government official would even get away with. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, just.
Well, I mean, we know what it is. It's this story that has been told over and over again that being a police officer is one of the most dangerous jobs, even though all of the data says it's not. And the fact that people feel like if we alienate police officers, who will keep us safe, whereas cops actually don't keep us safe. But again, you know, it's that narrative, right? Like everyone's like, oh yeah, cops keep us safe. So one, we have to make them feel like we got their back if they, you know, because in people's minds, like if a cop murders a bad guy and trying to protect me, we need to make sure the cop feels like they're not going to get in trouble for it, right? Like it's bullshit, but it is baked in bullshit.
Yeah, that's amazing that they gave him more time because he's a cop. When you think about where we started 10 years ago,
exactly.
That's insane. I mean, that's
like
that's great. I can't.
Yeah.
And people, you know, people who are criticizing that, it's almost like are they ignorant to, kind of the history of.
Well, people want change and they want it yesterday, right? So, like, I think some of those people, it's sort of like somebody randomly posted a video of some plant where they are like some sort of factory for weed in places where it's legal. And, you know, it's like, it's a really cool video to watch, like some machine that like basically rolls weed, right? And if we're like, free all the black men in prison for weed, it's like,
yeah.
I mean,
which I support, by the way.
Right,
I mean, and the things.
And it's like, you know, to me, I just see it as this thing where it's like, it's posturing, social media. People like to retweet things like that, whatever. Because it's like, at the end of the day, you cannot look at none of us, we hoped, we prayed, we wished, we felt, but none of us knew for a fact that this man was going to get convicted. So we're like, oh, yay, he gets convicted. And then y'all are mad that 22 years ain't enough. Which again, what would be enough other than
what would be enough where you could go to sleep, or did you really
Life
just
in
want to
prison.
tweet something to
I
get
think
off?
if we got,
9 years, right?
I think if we got life, for instance, if they say, you know what, this was an egregious crime, life in prison, would anyone really bat? Like, would you like say, oh my God?
The funny thing is, there'd be people. There'd be people who.
Like, there will be people, but I'm asking you.
Me?
Right? Like, say, for instance, if we got life, obviously, if you got 5 years in prison, right, you're gonna be like, dude, that is inadequate.
If you got a couple of weeks,
exactly. Like if you got time served, like
I'm like, we gotta at least make that double digits, bro.
Yeah, exactly. I think
we gotta at least do a decade.
If we got 10 years, I would complain. So that's double digits. Like I feel like I and that's just because it feels like what people get 10 years for. Sometimes it's just like wait, what?
is what people online do, where it's like, okay, we can talk about Black men who are in prison for weed for longer than 20 years. We could have talked about that yesterday. We can talk about that tomorrow. We don't need to only talk about it when this happens, right? We can, because at the end of the day, right, like, if now your issue is, if you're like, anti-abolitionist, you're like, look, every crime, we just need to draw a line and say, to, death penalty and put everything on that line. Because if that's what you're doing, then it makes sense when you say, okay, for drugs, no one ever, no matter how much drugs they have, will ever go to prison for more than 15 years. And no one for a murder will ever get under blah, blah, blah. But the penal code is weird and has all these things. Like you can do, you can have an amount of weed or amount of coke that gets you more prison time than like manslaughter, like a vehicular manslaughter, right? Is it fair? Is it not? Whatever. But we've decided that that's what it is. So like people using this case to say,
we didn't decide. I didn't decide. I wasn't part of that decision. I would have made a different decision. Well, anyway, I get it.
Yeah.
Look, but no, I hear what you're saying.
We can't litigate the entire penal code in this way. It's okay to advocate for and wish and hope and fight for nobody to be in prison for weed at all, period.
I think this is a win. And that's not to say that in the future, perhaps the narrative will change even more where this is going to get even more time. But I think at some point you give someone enough time where it's like over 20 years is a substantial amount of time to be in prison. And I don't know how much better I would feel if it was 30 versus 22,
right.
And it's just like, really, at this point.
So for me, to be honest, like I said, I think 22 years, like I'm fine with that. Like it didn't strike me as that was that wasn't just or whatever.
Right.
But for those that are complaining about it, even though, like I said earlier, like my initial reaction was like, guys, like just relax. Like but I still, I think it's actually okay. Whatever small percentage of people are gonna complain about it should have been harsher. I actually think it's okay for society, because especially relating to the question and the issue of accountability for cops, it just requires people to be whiny and bitchy for things to happen. Because I this past week I still read things about cops flipping people over, and some 14-year-old girl died, and they relegated him to desk duty. I remember thinking about it. I'm like, no, like if somebody died, that should be automatic. Like the default should be, okay, we're going to fire you. And now let's ask questions
investigate
later.
this like any other murder.
Yeah. Like it shouldn't be like, oh, now you're now on desk duty and see, let's wait and see if this blows up. So I'm actually fine with people being bitchy, and if that's what we want to call it, or like complaining.
But maybe not complaining about this. Like, let's complain about the other one, so that it's sort of like this case. We can agree that in this case, depending on how you define justice, right? But let's say justice was so, right? Because I think justice would be George Floyd being alive. Okay, well, yeah, but there's no time machine, so we can't. So to the extent that justice could potentially have been served, this has been done. Now the situation is, how do we, as a society, continue to, sit on the system to make sure that every other, Derek Chauvin or every gonna be Derek Chauvin is stopped, all of that. And that, and
so
maybe that's what people mean.
I actually think these cases are linked, right? Like, and what I mean by that is the way the public, because the way we think about police and police interactions with people and their responsibility to the public in general is so baked in. I feel like we can't, when we talk about whether it's Derek Chauvin or this other cop in Arkansas or this other cop in New York City, they all linked, in the way we talk about it. So even though we may be talking about this one cop, but really we are talking about all cops.
Sure. So, I would rather see 10, like in the next month, 10 more cops go to prison for this kind of stuff than, I mean, obviously it's not a this or that, but I'd rather see one more cop go to prison than add another 10 years to Chauvin, because it's kind of like that to me is kind of like, okay, we did the thing and the thing got done and yay, now let's do it over, rinse and repeat until cops stop murdering people, right? Like that's it. Not because, it depends on what you think about, like whether prison terms make people act better, right? Like, are there cops who are like, oh, Chauvin only got 22 years. Oh, let me go around and kill people. Oh man, but shit, if he got life, I certainly would think differently before I murder someone. Like, I don't think that really makes a difference.
I think a lot of what needs to change with policing, one, has to do with police culture. It just seems like there's this knee-jerk reaction to just protect each other. So I guess maybe that is related to training or whatever the case may be. I saw, maybe Aiitt, you might have posted this like on social media, but I saw something that somebody posted some time ago where we're talking about the amount of time that people spend training. And for you to be a hairdresser, it's like whatever. Right. And for you to be a cop, it's pitifully low. Like you get more training to be a barber, like for you to be certified as a barber or whatever in some states, than to be a cop.
Right.
Like that is crazy. And calling cops to come do everything too is kind of ridiculous. Like you see like 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds acting up in elementary schools, and you gotta call the cops to come handle that. No.
My parents' house, our neighbor, like we've lived there since 2004. So almost 20 years now. Like end of last year, I think sometime in the last 2 years, the time is warped. But I think it's my brother-in-law was parked in that sliver that's like, if he moves his car up about 4 inches, he's all on our property. If he moves his car, like wherever his car was, he probably had like, his car was probably parked on a fourth of his car was probably on like her property. And she called the police. And I'm just like, come on now. Because like, think about it, like, God forbid if this had turned to be a whole hashtag thing, you'd be like, we're not like some random new neighbors or people you don't know, which again, in all of those cases, there's other ways. I understand, this is Texas, everybody got guns. Maybe you don't want to roll up to our door, even though again, like really, but whatever. Leave a note on the car and say, hey, can you please move your car? It's on my property. Like not calling the police because it's like, what if the car situation was fine, but the police rolls up and something else is going on that escalates this. And it's like, you caused that. And like, I don't know if it crossed her mind at all that like, oh, well, maybe the police the way to resolve this.
And that's it. And that goes to, I mean, I don't even know if this person was white or black. It doesn't even matter.
Because,
but you call the cop for
about stupid shit like that.
Like even things like street fights or whatnot. Like that, in my view, that happens all the time. Like the fact that people have an altercation, push it, that doesn't mean police gotta be involved. And if the police is there, they don't have to come in and boom rush people. Like just talk to people. And like I will never forget. I saw there was a time when I saw a bunch of these they could have been college age. I mean, they were most likely college age students. White kids, they're probably in their, maybe like 20, 21 or something, smoking weed. And And the cop basically just told them, like, hey, get away from here. Like, he didn't even really, like, he just told them to disperse, like, that kind of thing. And in my mind, I'm like, so you have the capacity, and that goes to the other piece, right? Like, you have the capacity to be compassionate or to just utilize discretion. You just don't do it all the time. Remember when that riot then happened, and I had this comment about one of the cops that said he held his like, he held his cool and didn't shoot or something. I'm like, like you had it. Like, if those were BLM folks, like, would you have done that? Like, or would you have just shot indiscriminately into the crowd? Like, so those are just I don't know, man. But anyway, I'm tired of talking about this. Let's talk about something else.
Something else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I have something else I wanted to talk about. So there was you remember, I'm gonna pull a Teddy here, Manny.
Oh Lord, what, in episode 7?
Exactly.
4 minutes and 96 seconds.
Episode 6.
That's hilarious.
7, like in episode 6. We talked about that's funny. Episode 7. We talked about how, Trump might go on tour.
Yeah. Oh Lord, did he post his tour dates on Live Nation or something? Right? Did it just drop? I'm gonna be all over the country. I'm coming to a town near you.
Oh my God.
Well, he started his tour yesterday.
Did he? Where?
Was this in Ohio or something?
Got summer tickets.
Dude, like, Trump is so lucky. He's gonna sell out fucking arenas.
Right up in Ohio. Like, and let me see how much it costs to get this tickets for Houston on Event Ticket Center.
And what is it? Just this comedy hour? He's just been working on his hour, probably. That'd be funny if I just saw him in like comedy clubs.
It's just in
tour.
Oh,
They're gonna be in Houston December 18th.
Yeah.
Let me find out the Philly dates for you, so you can,
I wonder who's opening for him. Maybe Ted Cruz.
He actually has people opening for him, and
oh my God, let me look this up. So
he's just been bitching about the election.
It's like, well, that's the thing. When you're so famous as a politician, you can just go on tour, like, and just be yourself. Like,
I know, right? You don't have to write.
Remember Michelle just like went on tour. Oh man,
wait, was Michelle Obama?
Yeah.
What about her tour?
Didn't she go on tour?
Yes, she did for her book.
Yeah, but like
normal.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was there in New Orleans. I loved it.
Look, I'm not. If you like the politician, I'm not saying anything's wrong with it.
It's not a politician.
Okay, she's just a person.
Who wrote a book? Trevor Noah did a book tour, right?
Yeah.
But he's a comedian, so I guess that's different.
No, I mean, then people do book tours. That makes sense. But I feel like Michelle didn't have to write a book.
No, she didn't. I mean,
she could have just gone on tour, which would be fine. Like, she could just.
I think the writing a book makes it easier to be like, why the hell are you on? You wrote a book. Oh.
Yeah, you just wrote a book. Yeah. But let's be honest, she could just go on tour.
Just look,
look, I'm coming to your town. I'm gonna just be there in your local NBA arena.
Look, and it was sold out.
Yep. Let's see. His revenge. So this is called Trump's revenge rally. Oh man.
Ooh. This fool-ass fool. Did y'all see, as a side note, the French president, somebody slapped him?
Who slapped him?
A random person at he was speaking, so I guess they were like counter-protesting him or something. I'm about to look it up. This is like maybe last month. So anyway, he got slapped in the face.
That's hilarious.
Got sentenced to 4 months.
Let me see.
What are you guys talking about?
The French got slapped.
The who?
You didn't hear about it? The French president got slapped.
Oh no, the French president. You mean Macron?
Yeah.
I saw that. Like, it was.
Yeah.
He'd be all right.
But anyway, got 4 months.
Anyways,
for 18 months. God damn.
That's, I mean, if that happened in the US, like that's gonna be the death penalty. We're so warped in the US, man. When we think about crime and punishment, like you just have to bring the bricks. Like you got to bring the house down on people.
Yeah. And all sending people to a system that literally is profitable for a lot of people. Like when it's, I don't want to get into the whole private prison thing, but it's like the things that make people money it's not just private prisons, it's all the other bullshit that happens in government prisons. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I was gonna say
I can hear you, but Manny is frozen.
Okay. Yeah.
With his cheap ass internet. Are you using dial-up, Manny?
Oh Lord.
See, we can hear.
Now you're mute.
You're on mute, Manny.
Muted.
Yeah. So what are you saying?
Just America, man. Like the fact people's bloodthirst for people to spend forever in prison, whereas the prison itself doesn't really do them any good. Like I saw this thing today, a lady who got 72 or something like that years old, that got like sort of like a compassionate release because of COVID, was like in computer class, and so then didn't answer her phone when her parole officer called her, and so then she's going back to prison because of that.
Yeah, see, dumb shit like that, right?
Fuck. Anyway,
dumb shit like that.
God bless America.
America's crazy, but yeah, I mean, I generally agree. I'm not.
I don't remember.
Can y'all hear me, by the way?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool.
But
my thing went off a little
but your sound quality sounds terrible.
It does? Okay.
Yeah.
It just sounds different from before.
It's probably not on the Yeti. Nope.
No,
it's not.
Better.
Okay, is it on the Yeti now?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. See, that was that shit we were on for a couple of weeks. Where I tried to apologize, but I was like, everybody be all right.
That was hilarious. I was like, what is this apology?
I know. I was actually apologizing, but
yeah, you were.
The lie taught me not to apologize. Tell everybody they be all right. And they will be all right.
I mean, they will.
They will.
You got to pull a Trump and not apologize.
Yeah, I know. What do you guys think about this? So, not apologizing. Like, how often do you apologize? Because I was talking to Geneva about it, and she was saying at work, and I hope she doesn't mind me putting her on blast. She listens to every episode, but
hi, Geneva.
Hey, you be all right. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna tell everybody what you do. Or let's just say a friend of mine told me this, that they don't apologize at work. And it was funny. So they'll say that they will address the situation or they'll rectify the situation, but they don't apologize, which I thought was really cool, especially because this person is a woman, and sometimes that can be more detrimental for women to apologize than for men to apologize, or women have been conditioned to apologize more. And so I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna try to do that. But it lasted for like 30 seconds because I just can't help it. But for me, that's my style, but I totally understand someone else having a different style and it working for them. But I was just wondering what you guys think about that. Like for me, apologizing is no big deal. I'll quickly say, my apologies or whatever, if I think it's warranted. I don't think that puts me in any lower of a position or like I lose leverage. I feel like it works with my personality, and then I also try to address the situation. What do you guys think about that?
What are you apologizing for? I guess that's a cool question. Like say for instance, you forgot to do something, or
like
if you farted in a meeting, something.
Yeah, if I miss something.
Farting in a meeting? What?
If I what?
Why? What are these words coming out your mouth?
Wait, what did he say? I missed that part.
Said, like you forgot to do something, or maybe you farted in a meeting. I was like,
no, that I just press mute when I fart in the meeting on Zoom. I got to remember not to fart in meetings, though. I'm so used to just being able to press mute. So when it comes to in person, I got to make sure
out here pressing
I don't
mute
do
and
that.
computer to fart in an in-person.
Yeah. I just press mute and just fart as loud as I can in person. Anyway, and it doesn't happen often, but if I just think it's warranted, like if I I don't know, if I was later for something than anticipated, or if I forgot something, I don't know. I might quickly say that I'm trying to think of a good example, but, to me, I'm not like, I immediately say, what I'll do to fix it or whatever.
Yeah.
But I also don't mind just quickly saying it either. But I also can see how it might be a bad habit for me, but maybe for some other people too.
I mean,
it is a bad habit. Like I don't think you should be apologizing just for apologizing, say, especially because it, if you did something wrong, say for instance, in your personal relationship, right, and you think, okay, I was in the wrong, and you apologize, that's one thing. But if you constantly apologizing in the context of work, it sends a different kind of message. Like it's if you think about the people that owning up to something is different from apologizing. Like there is a way to just say, hey, to say my bad without saying, oh my God, I'm sorry for doing that. Like, like owning up to something is different from apologize. So that's how I'm going to put it. So I think Geneva is playing it, whoever that is.
Friend.
Right, whoever my friend is.
Whoever your
They're
friend
playing
is,
it right. Yeah.
He's playing it right. I mean, that's like boss move right there. So you need to get some, like, that's how a boss, like, a leader does. Like,
but I also don't
you owning up to your shortcomings or whatever balls you may have dropped, but you're not sorry for them.
Well,
or you're not apologizing.
I see what you're saying. I totally get that. Sorry, Aiitt, you can go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Finish your thought.
I was just, it's not, I don't know. It's not like every message I send, like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I don't say, like, I don't know. For me, it's not meant to be like, oh my God, like I say it in the context of, it's almost like saying thanks at the end of an email. Like it's not meant to be like, it's a courtesy, like just a quick courtesy. Like I don't actually care. Like if you actually got mad at me, I'd be like, what the hell is wrong? Like I don't actually care. You know what I mean? It's just a quick courtesy thing, but it's not like I guess a rule for me that I can never say it is just very hard. It's like telling me I could never say please, and I for me, it's just more of like a quick courtesy thing that occasionally I will say.
So I know you're going to say something, but I just wanted to add, I get what you're saying. And in some ways it's cultural, right? So for instance, Americans just say please to start things, like, as an example. That is not a thing that Spanish people say.
Right.
Uh-oh.
We got Geneva calling.
That's someone calling me.
Why the fuck you talking about me on the podcast?
Delete my name out your mouth.
We can bleep it out.
Yeah. Nah, we don't bleep it.
No, she'd be all right.
So for instance, Americans say please a lot. Like it doesn't mean that they're begging you to do something. Like,
right.
Like, please pass me the salt. Please, call somebody. It's just part. You just think, that's the right thing for you to say, right? Or you're being respectful.
Right.
Now, there are many other cultures that don't say that. Like Spanish people don't use please, like por favor, right? Por favor. No, like they just say, if you were to call someone and they pick up on the other line, they would just say something like dime, which basically means tell me, like,
right,
or talk to me, like, never would you hear something like hello, por favor, like, no, like it's not. For like an American, that would be a little shocking. Like it would be rude, but it's not. Like it's just, it doesn't mean anything. But the part that is interesting though is, I think psychologically, and I think that's what it is when you with what you're saying, right, in terms of just apologizing, so to speak. It's almost cultural. It's not like you mean it or you feel like you're being subservient or whatnot. But I think it does mean something psychologically, which is why your friend doesn't do it. Like in the context of work, in the context of work, it makes a difference. And I think that there are even studies that shows that, like, for women, especially, it makes them look and feel weaker when they constantly for men it doesn't, but it will for some level. Like if you're comparing two men, one that does it and one that doesn't, it will make that one, the one that constantly apologizes, and I put that in quotes, weaker. Again, I think the key is just owning up to your stuff without. I mean, there are many ways.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I really think part of it is, I think a lot of it has to do with the differences in gender. Yeah. And if I were a woman like this friend,
you're laughing like, what the fuck
that makes a lot more sense. Almost, it's funny because sometimes when I'm communicating with other people, I don't like when women apologize because I feel like they shouldn't have to, but when men do it, I don't care. And kind of like if they don't, they look like a dick. So that's just me personally. And like it just, I don't know, but I definitely think gender matters. And I don't think people should just be apologizing. I don't think anyone should be apologizing profusely, often, all the time at work, because that does make you look weak. But I think it more adversely affects women. So I totally get this person's policy, but I was just shocked. I was like, you've never apologized for anything? And the person's like, no. And I was like, good for you. I'm great.
Boss. No, I love it. I mean, y'all have said most of what there is to say about it. I think as a woman, these things, all these things matter, right? Like it's sort of the conversation that happens on social media about like how bosses or CEOs respond to emails, right? Like, first year intern is like, hi, thank you so much for this, all these words. Yeah, here are some thoughts that I got. I hope you'll get a chance to look at them and feel free to reach out. And then, as the CEO or partner is just like, seen, or got it, or thanks. And that's it, because that's really all that needed to be said. Just a way to acknowledge that it's seen. But I think with sorry, like I just went to go search like work Slack to see like if I've said sorry lately.
I know I'm about to like check my emails. Like how many times do I say like apologize?
Yeah, there was one that I was like, oh, sorry for just getting back to you on this, and it was one of those where it's like the person was impressed. They had like, and it was not like I'd said I'll get it to you on XYZ date and got it to them later. But it's such a It's big, especially for young women, to like try like stop apologizing all the damn time, because it makes you sound like someone who apologizes all the time. It makes you look a certain way, like not just like I posted this in the I found a link on a Forbes article that says stop apologizing, 10 alternative approaches. I'm sorry. And part of it is that like, it makes you look less confident in your abilities. I think like if there's someone who's always saying sorry, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I made that mistake. Like you start to think of them as sorry. Like it's like you have to get together. You're always apologizing, as opposed to somebody else who's making the exact same mistakes, who says, oh, I'll take care of that. Oh, I'll look into it. I'll fix it. So I think it's just all these other, it's not really about the word sorry or apologizing. It's more so like finding other ways to sound more confident and being more like on top of your shit and saying sorry all the time, or saying, especially oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, bruh.
Yeah. Like, I don't mean, like, let's be clear. I don't mean this.
And that's the thing, because it's hardly ever really this true, like, sorry. Because
genuine, like I'm
never
sorry.
That deep. Like, oh, I'm sorry. I was, 30 seconds late to this meeting. Like instead of saying, oh, I just got off another call.
Like I could never just be late for a meeting, maybe like not super late, but I feel like I would naturally say sorry, which maybe is a bad habit, but it's like I am late. I did mess up. Now the thing is, my friend probably is just never late to a meeting.
Right.
Rarely late. So I'm probably just a scrub, but I just can't walk in and just be like, all right, I'm here, let's go. It's like, dude, apologize.
These people are saying like you should say things, find other words to say, right?
Yes.
Like, maybe you walk into the meeting late and said, thank you all so much for your patience.
Yeah.
So actually, I just used that in email today. I said thank you for your patience because I was late.
So that's why I said there are ways to own up without apologizing. Like it's not about you just pretending like you're not.
Nothing happened. You have to acknowledge it.
Yeah, you can.
But it's like, why? Yeah, but it's like, does that? Yeah, I guess I would need to know, okay, what are your substitutes? Because for me, it's easy to just say a quick courtesy sorry that doesn't actually mean,
right.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry, as opposed to saying, thank you for your patience. But I could say that, but it's just like, that's wordy. Why? Just acknowledge it real quick and move on. Who gives a shit?
I feel like thank you for your patience. Saying that walking into a meeting late to me only makes sense if you're like the convener of the meeting. Like if you're like the junior, one of the junior people on a call.
Excuse me, partner. Thank you everyone for your patience. I just don't value your time, and that's why I got here late. So fuck you guys.
Yeah. I think it's gotta be, and maybe that the goal of the don't say sorry is about having a more holistic view of like choosing your words carefully, because sorry,
I think that's the goal. Yeah.
Those are just really easy. They fill up space unnecessarily. Sometimes you're not even sorry. You don't even think you like, really, oh, sorry to keep y'all waiting. Okay, well, shit, I showed up at 2:00. The meeting was at 2:00. I'm sorry y'all showed up at 1:45, right? And it's like, well, now we're saying I'm sorry. And it's like, I didn't keep you waiting, actually. So now I'm just putting all these words in there. But it's about being more conscious about not only the words you say, but what they mean as far as like your reputation, especially for women and people of color who happen to be women. Like all these things, just you start to look like a punk.
They matter because and the other thing is, if you keep quote unquote apologizing and saying sorry, especially for things that you shouldn't, it starts building something in people's mind that you're constantly doing something wrong, even if you're not.
Yes.
So it's like, the last meeting you said sorry for something. The meeting before that, you apologize for something else.
Right. You probably need to apologize for something else today.
Like, subconsciously, that you just start developing this reputation as someone that's always dropping the ball, even though you perfect.
Even if you're not, even if they're dropping less balls than anybody else.
Yeah.
No,
it's because sometimes the things that you apologize for, nobody even thought about.
Nobody even noticed.
So
nobody even knew. Like.
Yeah. No, I hear you guys loud and clear.
Manny, you need to stop, man.
I think I'm looking through all my emails now where sorry came up.
I gotta tell you a hilarious one that I remember thinking about. So I'm like about to send, this is like my first week, I think. Yeah. I drafted an email response to a client that my boss was on the call with. And so it was one of those things. I've been using Grammarly a lot lately, so my shit is like clean. But I fucked up in one place where I ran Grammarly through it and fixed all the stuff, but then I decided to fix the wording of something and I didn't Grammarly it again. So it was missing a word. So I sent it to my boss and he responds, looks great to me. One small typo, you're missing the word blah. It's like, I think I changed something to reaching out to following up and forgot the word up. And I'm looking at my response and I was kind of like, haha, boss. Not really. I just respond, yikes, thanks, instead of sorry, which I was like, yes, you did it. So I'm very proud of myself.
Yeah. I mean, something like that. Yeah, I mean,
let me tell you what I've done in the past when, maybe there were typos or whatnot.
Usually there's a typo. You can go fuck yourself. I don't care about that anymore. When I was younger, I used to. Now I'm just like, yeah, okay, thanks for catching that.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna apologize for that shit.
Good. I actually wouldn't say catch. I mean, thanks for coming. Good catch, John.
Yeah. I honestly, I just say thanks, or something. I don't even I'm like, cool. What the fuck are you supposed to do? I'm glad you read the document and you know how to read. Good for you. Have you never made a typo before? What the fuck are we doing here? We always make typos.
Now it's not about. I mean. If there is a typo, of course you want somebody internally to catch it, right? So it's not like you're getting upset at the person that caught it. They should point it out.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Thanks, but if you're gonna don't judge me.
If you're not gonna give me a raise because of that, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. It's that you did your job. Good job, dude. Thanks.
And if you
or woman, whoever you are,
if you're gonna tell me.
Oh man, no! I used to be stuff like that. as you get older, I think as you get more senior though at work, I will say I've developed a less apologetic attitude. Like compared to me as a junior, I apologize for I was just always sorry because I probably was always fucking something up. I was because something. I was like, I'm sorry for fucking up that entire deal, or whatever. Like that was my posture, and now it's like. Like a typo or something, it's like, yeah, like, thank you. Like, like, let's move on.
I think the conversation, though, is that it's important the thing is, you were probably like 10 times, you probably use the word sorry 10 times more than, say, a fellow first year that was white, right? Like,
right.
And to the extent that if, every sorry over 100 in your first year diminishes your reputation by a point, you lost more ground than he did, right? And so it's just a matter of like, it's, and I think it's obviously you don't want people to get so cocky to the point where they're like, yeah, I dropped a typpo in there, fuck that shit. It's like you're
right.
a bitch, like
right, calm down. You don't even have a job yet. Relax.
It's interesting. It's really, people gotta be like now. I gotta, I'm trying to like, because I'm coming into this job obviously like with some experience. I'm like, I don't know if I know I'm not the youngest person on the team, but I actually could be. I don't know because everybody look different. But trying to like just like put my shoulders up and be like, you know what, I got this. And one typo doesn't mean. And I think it's because you now recognize your that what I bring to the table is not just good typer, right? And so it's like one typo does not then mean, oh no, they regret hiring me because I can't do the one thing I was brought on to do.
Yeah.
As opposed to like a first year, like the idea they say, really, you're like, come on now, we don't expect you to know the law, but we expect you to not have typos.
Right. It's like I
can't type.
Right, I agree with that. You've built up credit, if you've been there for a while, or that you've proven yourself in another job, maybe that you're an expert in something, or maybe not an expert, but just like, for me it's like, really, like all the hard stuff I did in that document, you're gonna get mad at a typo? Like, dude, we all have typos. Everyone does. That's just part of it.
Like, shit,
like you should catch it. If you sent me something, I'm reviewing your stuff, I'm just gonna fix it if I see it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I mean, there are people that legitimately have like dyslexia or things like that. It doesn't mean they're not smart, they're incapable of doing the job, or because having a bunch of typos in a memo, for instance, or in an email doesn't mean anything in the context of what needs to get done. Like those are two different things. Right? So it's just interesting how, I mean, I kind of get it, but it's interesting how we've made that into a thing that we now crucify people for. I mean, maybe that is changing a little bit. Like people are being like, you know what, fuck you. I mean, Grammarly, for instance,
I don't think people are care less about typos. I think they're just now better tools that
to catch it.
Have, but then it also like maybe almost even is going to make it worse because now it's like really like, where the fuck is your Grammarly, bro? Like as opposed to,
I use Grammarly, but I have the freemium.
Look, I decided like
I used to use it and now I don't anymore. But I will say, because it just like got off of my computer and then I was too lazy to put it back on. But I will say I think it made me a better writer just for like the year that I had it. So I feel like I'm just writing better based off of that. Like I almost like don't need it. It was like, I mean, I'm sure it would make me better.
Yeah.
But
I like it. I got it during my interview process, actually, just because, like, as I can't, I can't afford to, like, I mean, obviously, I really wanted the job, all of that, but I was like, look, I gotta have my shit clean. So I was using the regular, and then I literally, I was like, I gotta stop being basic and get the whole like paid subscription, and it makes such a difference. For me, not because I couldn't catch that stuff on my own or fix it all, but it's like me and commas, we just don't really get along very well. And so that helps with that. And it helps me in a shorter time period, right? So it'll be a lot quicker. So then I can just word vomit the thing, make sure structurally my sentences make sense, there's flow. And then grammarly, like sometimes I'll make a suggestion and I'm like, first of all, you don't obviously know what I'm talking about, so I'll ignore it. But sometimes I'm like, oh, sure, I guess I will put a comment there. Thanks, ma'am.
Yeah. I think you just sold me. I'm going to get it again.
Yeah, do it. Pay for it. I will say the 1 year, I did the monthly for a month and it's stupid. It's like $30 for a month. And then if you buy a whole year at once, it's like, it comes to like $12 a month. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's worth it though, for sure.
Yeah. No, but I will. Yeah. It's funny. I used to be so concerned about typos for all those reasons. I didn't want to look stupid and all that stuff. But like, I think I have fewer of them, even though I still have them like all the time because I've been doing this for so long.
You're saying a lot of the same things, like email wise.
But also, like what Lai was saying, it is good to just know in your heart of hearts that it has nothing to do with your intelligence. In fact, I was reading an article that was saying that when people have typos, a lot of times what that means is that their brain isn't focused. There isn't focused on things like administratively. It's focused on like meaning. So a lot of times what that means is that your brain is actually focusing on like structure and how to properly convey the message, as opposed to a different side of your brain, which is the one that is more administrative, that focuses on like typos and stuff like that. Now, obviously you try to do both. You want to have both, but like they were saying, sometimes that can actually mean that the person is just caring more about like the structure and the meaning of it. So if they miss a typo, like if you missed that thing where you said followed up, what that could just mean is that you were just focusing more on just conveying it properly and getting the structure down, as opposed to the administrative stuff. Which the administrative stuff, that's the easy part. That's the part that's not using intelligence. You're using intelligence when you're trying to figure out how to properly convey something.
Right. No, it's just interesting. Like I know that I will say the reason that one Grammarly like really makes sense. I judge people based on typos. I shouldn't, but I do.
I'm sure we all do.
Something that's supposed to be like, like, and I think why people do all of the things that we say is not good about typos is because it's like, if you aren't paying attention to, like, if you went, so like I'm thinking about getting LASIK. If my doctor's office had typos all over their like intake document, you're not touching my fucking eyes, right? Like, not.
If you can't get your eyes correctly on the paper,
you know what I'm saying? Like what are you doing? Like,
I get it. I will say though, and this is I'll say I know a person who I know a lawyer who is just absolutely brilliant, who has typos all the time. Like, but this person, I would pick this person to be my lawyer in the courtroom over most people I've ever met. Like, and very, very smart, and has worked at some very prestigious places, but like has typos all the time, which was like, but you could tell for whatever reason, this person has just figured out a system, and people know what the person's saying and has managed to have a very successful career despite of it. It's wild.
Are they like older?
Than
like us?
In their 50s.
Oh yeah, I mean definitely.
Yeah, I mean I can't say I don't want to say too much on here, but like I am very inspired by this person because now, of course, if you really need to like file something in the court or whatever, you're gonna have it sent through reviewers and people to check for typos and all that stuff. But just like on a day-to-day basis, sending back emails and all this stuff, it's kind of like that boss move where it's like, I'll send you a quick something back, like just explaining what it means, and you just figured whatever I said out, even if there's typos in it. And this person is very well respected. And because like, and a woman,
there's something more about them than
there's something like
thing. And that's the other part, right? Like, because whenever I'm like talking to like younger people in general who are like, look, first of all, you're Grammarly, because at the end of the day, you're fresh out of college. You have nothing to bring to the table.
Exactly.
Right? Like, so don't be sending emails with typos like, well, look, I'm so, because you'll hear that. And then I'm like, that's cool. Also, don't wear a suit to the interview. Shit, don't have an email address. Have a dummy email. That's on you. Whatever, however things work out, they work out. But just it is an interesting. It's funny, like even for me, thinking of myself as like more experienced. I'm like, oh yeah, I am getting to the point where there are things that people like want me for that aren't like she typed good.
Right. This person has a clean work product. Yeah, but is it helpful in what the fuck we're trying to do? Who cares if you don't have any typos and you don't have a good analysis? Do you know what I mean? Like, who gives a shit? Like, and I think what happened with this person was that in the very beginning, they probably were very meticulous because they knew that that's an area where they had to be careful about. And then as they like kind of got more and more respect, they're like, fuck this. Like, and I'm going to focus on my strengths as opposed to worrying about my weaknesses. And I can, because I built that credibility among people. And I'm a really fucking smart and good lawyer.
And that's the thing about like, you know, Grammarly needs to sponsor this episode. Damn.
This episode is sponsored by Grammarly.
They just need to cut us to check. Because like, and that's why I like Grammarly, right? Because it's like, I need the typos checked because you know, whatever. Especially in my job, I'm like dealing with like law schools and stuff. I can't become a fucking idiot. But I'm like, I don't want to have to spend the effort on it. And now here's a resource that does it for me in much less time. But whatever. Brought to you by Grammarly.
I mean, now I'm actually gonna get the premium version.
Look, I've
been thinking about it for a long time, but now I'm just gonna do it. I'm like, yeah. Like I use the freemium, and it just feels inadequate sometimes. Like it's like there is this thing that I want to change for you, but
you know where that money at though? Let's see that credit card though. Before I be changing this sentence, like I could change it for you, but I could do it even better. But you're gonna have to pay for it though.
Like I have it in my Chrome browser. I have it downloaded into my Word. I tried it with my phone for a little bit, but then I was like, it was
your text messages must have been immaculate, or your WhatsApp messages.
Yeah, but it won't integrate into like my Android keyboard, and I was like, nah, I need my keyboard because it had all the like little swirly things. Yeah. I didn't like that, but and it was trying to fix them. You know, I'm like, no, I meant to say gonna. Don't change it. Like,
yeah, see, I can't have it with text messages. Nah, that's too informal. I can't have it mess with my stuff. But no, I mean, like we're all lawyers, so we all care about words and writing. And all that stuff. So I do like words. I like writing. I like people who are concise. I like, you know, people who can write well. I try to write as well as I can and get better at it. So Grammarly makes sense. Again, sponsored by Grammarly.
No, I'm gonna go see if they have like I'll be like, look, y'all need to sponsor us because what? They'll be like, no thanks, and then they'll go sponsor all the other lawyer podcasts.
Yeah.
You know what? That would be a great. That's a whole like thing, like the podcast that like podcast ads. How that? I don't know. I'm not saying words that make sense.
Do you need Grammarly?
Grammarly for your brain.
It's like you want me to fix a sentence. It's gonna cost you though.
So, like, I'll give an example. Storyworth. It's this website thing that advertises on one of the podcasts I listen to. I think it's Death, Sex, and Money. Which is a really good podcast. Also #plug. But so Storyworth is this website. So they were advertising that thing for Father's Day, which I ended up getting for my dad. You pay like, I think it was like $89 every week for like a year. They send your father or whoever the person is a question prompt, and they respond with the answers to the questions. So something like, you know, what's the most important thing to you in friendship? Like random shit. The idea is at the end of a year, there is sort of enough for like almost like a memoir. So they put it together in a book and then they send it to you, which is like a really cute idea. And I like.
What is this called again?
Storyworth, like a story worth telling.
All right.
And I was thinking that like it makes a lot of sense because if you're listening to Death, Sex, and Money, which is a podcast about like having difficult conversations about things we don't normally talk about. The kinds of people who listen to it are probably the kinds of people who are like, StoryWorth, yes, I want, because you can also do it like for yourself or like, whoever else, not just a dad thing. People who care about stories about like actual people. So
cool.
Interesting. The whole podcast advertising world. That was the point I was trying to make that Grammarly didn't fix in my brain. Get it together, Grammarly. I pay you so much money.
Grammarly be aight. Well, have we come to the end of the show? Is this
I feel like Manny wanted to say something.
No, this is good. This is good. I've enjoyed this a lot.
Back to your evil brief.
I know. Ugh. It's speaking of writing.
Really? Oh my God. They need to go ahead and send us a check.
I'm about to be like, thanks for your patience, everyone. Here's my assignment.
There you go. Just and maybe the goal for you this week will be not to say sorry less, but every time before you say it, pause and be like, can I say something else?
Yeah, and to be honest, there might be weeks where I just don't even say it. I don't say it that often, but I could go a week without saying it. I'm not. That's a lie. I'll probably say it tomorrow. No, but I am gonna try. I am gonna try to not say it and just say something instead.
Yeah, I think it's one of those little things where it's like, and it's
you have the perfect thing to say. Like
what's that?
Perfect phrase to say instead of saying sorry.
So thank you for your patience.
Or you be aight.
You be aight.
It's like, first of all, you be aight.
To our listeners.
Oh man. I'm definitely gonna say that. I can't. Woof. I'm going on vacation.
You want to type that in an email and Grandma will be like, did you mean to say sorry?
You will be all right. No, I meant to say you be aight.
Oh man, yeah. It's funny telling people the podcast name if they bring me up on like a comedy show. Do you have any credits? I have to pull up the podcast and be like, it's UBI. They're like, huh? So and I show them. One guy just got it completely wrong. Well, I would have thought it was hilarious. He was like, he's got a podcast called You All Right or something. I don't know. And the first thing I said was, it's called UBI, and everyone laughed. Yeah, English was his second language, so I kind of fuck with him a little bit. Not intentionally, but it was funny. Everybody laughed. He thought it was hilarious. He was like, "What the hell are you saying?" Like, UBI.
Oh Lord! Check out StoryWorth. Tell a story worth telling.
Oh man, this was great. This was really, really fun. Io, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, it was as always nice to hang.
Yeah,
we should do this again next week, Manny. Remember, to be explicit.
All right, I'll reach out on WhatsApp and be very explicit.
You just need to calendar it like grown people do.
We should. Well, I just assume we're gonna try to do it around 3 p.m. every Sunday.
Yeah, I think that's a safe assumption.
Yeah. So I will be out of town, but I plan on. This is why we need Io here to keep me accountable.
It's funny how Manny will go apologize to every white person out there, but when he was ready, apologize to me because I'm black, and that's the reason. Because I'm black. This mother has never apologized before to me.
Like, you be aight.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
So Manny is racist. Is that
no? So 3 p.m. next Sunday, I will bring my stuff with me out of town, or if not, I'll just do it on I'll do it.
We probably can shoot for Saturday, but
yeah. No, I mean, it's fine. We'll still plan to do it next week.
Yeah,
and maybe Io, if you're around, maybe we can do like a part 2, and then, well, we'll figure out logistics. But let's plan to do it next week, Sunday at 3 p.m.
Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2
Eastern
p.m.
time.
Central, and, 9 p.m. Valencia time.
Yep.
All right, friends.
All right, y'all.
That
See you
is
later.
Y'all be all right.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And